All right, it is Tuesday night, and that means another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs. I am Mike. Joining me once again, as always, is the lovely man that we know as Wes at Painted Bronco on Twitter. How's it going tonight, Wes?
It's good. I'm just ready for the work week to be over and for the hockey week to start. We've got an adventure coming up this weekend, and mine starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I've been talking about it all week. One of my coworkers, he told me if I get in trouble in Nashville, don't bring up his name. It'll only make it worse. And I said, well, I'm 2 for 2, not getting arrested. I'm hoping to go 3 for 3. But with you walking around Broadway with your face painted, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep that promise.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long time in face paint.
Yeah, well, better you than me. I just have to wear a Western jersey for a little while, and I can do that since I do pull for the Broncos, except for when they play my Bulldogs.
I gotta figure out, or you gotta figure out which one you want to wear. We'll figure that out after the show because I'll grab a couple of them. I doubt I'll wear one to the game. Me and jerseys at games have not worked out well, but I'll at least take
Yeah,
one with us. Um, but yeah, I mean, let's a pretty good weekend of hockey. We had some upsets. We had some wrong guesses. We had some surprise goals and surprise games.
yeah, this weekend kind of had a lot of everything. We were way off on some of the picks, but you know what? That makes it fun, and just us. Well, it proves that we're just guessing and we're pulling everything out of our asses.
I mean, I think there's a certain amount of logic that we're using. It's just a matter of things not always going our way. There were some unfortunate bounces or teams not necessarily playing up to their potential in a few instances, perhaps. So, I mean, I don't want to
Well, I
say that
mean,
we were completely talking out of our asses. I think just some things didn't go necessarily our way.
everyone uses logic, but predictions are just usually complete guesses, unless you're a Vegas odds maker, and then you usually know something. Um, just they still missed on the Dallas Cowboys being 1 point favorites in Minnesota. They missed it by about 36 points.
Well, you're hoping that the other team shows up, and that's just an instance of where they didn't. Let's start out with the furthest west series of Colorado College and St. Cloud. I think we each predicted this to be a split. It was not. And honestly, I feel like the scores kind of were flopped for the way the games went. Friday night ended up being a super close scoring game. I think it was 2-1 in favor of St. Cloud. And really, it was a two unlucky goals, one by each team, as far as like if you're a goalie concerned. Really, like there was the opening goal was a penalty kill for St. Cloud, a shorthanded goal scored from about 185 feet away. That was the opening goal of
Oops.
Friday night's game. Um, and then Colorado College got back on to even a little bit later when the puck went off of a defenseman who was trying to make the diving block to keep the pass from going through, and it went off of his stick and right past Caster to make it 1-1. And St. Cloud would later score the go ahead goal. But St. Cloud really kind of controlled a lot of Friday's game, and you would think the way they were playing and the way they controlled it that it was going to be more along the lines of what we saw Saturday, which was a 5-0 win for St. Cloud. And honestly, like Colorado College played a lot better game. They played a lot better defensively. They were able to get out of their zone a little bit better. They were a little bit. I think the frustration of not being able to beat Bassie and get the puck past him played in a little bit, and even some of the frustration from the night before of just nothing going in got to them, and they got themselves in penalty trouble. And I mean, St. Cloud has been really really good on the power play. They've played well. They got things going there, and it was. I think they had nope. I think that was the other series that I'm thinking of with the major penalty, or did they? Yeah. I
Well,
think that was the no, that was the North Dakota game that had the major.
yeah.
But either way, like I mean, actually, Colorado College penalty kill had been really good. I think they'd only given up one power play goal in like 4 games, and they finally gave one up Saturday. Um, but it was just the game seemed a lot closer Saturday. Colorado College just could not figure out their former goaltender, and Bassie played really well. And Berko played really well Friday night. He ended up getting pulled Saturday for Vernon, and like I said, I think that the scores were kind of the opposite of what you would think. It was just the goaltender kind of the goaltenders had a better night Friday night than Berko did Saturday.
Yeah, the play, it dictated kind of how we thought the series was going to go, or at least how I had it, because I had St. Cloud winning on Friday, and they were just a more dominant team, and I had Colorado College winning on Saturday. That just didn't happen, but both teams stayed out of the box pretty well. Each team on Friday had 2 power plays apiece, and they were able to kill it off. Colorado College kind of got away from it though on Saturday, and it was 4-2. They were in the box 4 times, and against the St. Cloud team, that's an experienced St. Cloud team. That's not something that you want to do. And they needed to win that special teams battle and draw more penalties than they did. So kind of unfortunate, kind of derails a little bit of momentum that Colorado College had. But at the same time, it's a learning experience. They're playing St. Cloud for the first time this year. They can move forward, and they are a better team than we've seen in the past few years, and they just need to build off of that.
Yeah, I mean they're taking steps for sure. McCown's playing really well. He's still leading. I think still near the top in the country as far as power play goals. So that's still not a power play that you want to take your chances against either. But they're making the right steps. It's just a matter of how consistent can they be. And really, the thing that surprised me the most was just how much St. Cloud was able to pressure Colorado the entire game. Like even the announcer said, like they're getting stronger as the game goes on. And generally, that's not something you see when teams travel to Colorado College or Denver, but they've been able to do that now in both cities and against both Colorado teams. So I mean, St. Cloud's definitely a team to look out for. They're number 4 in the country. They deserve to be there. There might be some argument for them moving up, but I don't know that Colorado College was necessarily a tough enough opponent to push them a little bit further. I haven't actually looked at the rankings to see where they're still at.
Yeah, St. Cloud, they're always a tough team, but there just seems a little bit something different about them this year. Um,
Yeah, they moved up to 3 actually. So I mean,
well, you get a sweep. I think that helps a little bit, even though Colorado College isn't that they aren't as tough an opponent. You still get a sweep on the road. You can move up. But that experience that St. Cloud has, and how they've been playing and how both Castor and Bassie have been playing this year. Uh, for Bassie, it helps when you have a better team in front of you. You play a little more confident. You feel a little more confident. Castor last year had to come in the playoff series in the first round of the NCHC tournament against UMD, and I didn't think he played that poorly. In the Friday game, St. Cloud as a team, they just didn't show up. They It wasn't on him. I think he maybe let in one soft goal, but UMD just dominated. And then in the Saturday game, he was able to push UMD to overtime, and he played stellar. He was outstanding. Uh, Thankfully, we were just able to come out with the series win and move on. And I was able to celebrate and not have to worry about trying to watch a Sunday game somehow. So they have a I really don't want to use this, but they have a dynamic duo in Bassi and Caster.
I mean, they're both in the top 20 as far as save percentage goes. Dominic Bassi is currently leading the country with a 9.48 save percentage, and Caster is tied at 19th with a 9.23. So, I mean, they're both above 90. They're both making plays, playing well. I think they have a total of like 3 losses between the two of them. I think Caster has 2 of the 3 losses for the team. They're just getting the most out of that duo right now, and it doesn't really matter who's in net. Like, they're getting excellent production from the guy whose job is to keep the puck out of the net, and they're doing it. So, I mean, kudos to them. Hopefully they can. Well, not hopefully they can sustain this, because I would like to see them get beaten and maybe not take the Penrose, but. They're a tough team. They do still have some weaknesses because teams are beating them. You know, they played really well against Denver and Western Michigan, but split both of those series. I think they have this week off,
Yes, they do.
so a good chance to kind of heal some of the bruises and bumps that they've acquired. Um,
I think the right now having both goalies playing as well as they are, it's a good problem to have. But once you start getting closer to tournament time, you run into, okay, who are you going to lean on? Because especially in the one and done series, assuming they make it out of the first round of the NCHC playoffs, which, who knows who they're going to play. They're on track to be one of the top 2 seeds. They're just playing so well right now. Anything can change, but who do you give the reins to? And how do you keep the other goalie fresh enough where if you, at least in the best of 3 series, if you have one bad game, how do you make sure the other guy's fresh enough? But then who do you go to in the one and dones when you get to the semifinals, finals, and then in the NCAA tournament? But that's down the road. It's just one question that
I think
I'm glad I don't have to make that decision.
Yeah, no, especially between those two right now. I mean, like I said, they're both playing extremely well. It will be. I think you ride what you're doing as long as you can while it's still successful. The interesting thing will come like once we get into some of the tournaments. Like you probably just ride the hot hand and hope that the other guy's always going to be ready and always prepares like he could be playing. Um, and you kind of pray that there's no injury to where you have to just rely on one. So I think like they're in a really good spot goalie wise. It'll be interesting to see how they get through the rest of the NCHC schedule and really what happens going into both tournaments. Because I mean, we saw last year, Duluth was a team who finished 5th in the NCHC, and they're the team who won the tournament and got the automatic bid. And it really came, and their goalie stepped up huge in the NCHC playoffs, shutting out both Denver and Western Michigan in the semifinals and finals. And it really kind of came down to one bad bounce, and they could have been in the Final Four instead of Denver. So goaltending is so important that it's such a luxury to have 2 guys who are playing kind of out of their minds right now.
Yeah, and we'll see how the season plays out. We're not even into December. Once late January, February, early February comes around, then we'll see if St. Cloud has that true number 1 goalie. But at least early on in the year right now, when you have both goalies playing this well, say, we'll just say Bassi ends up being kind of their number 1, getting closer to tournament time, and Caster's their number 2. If unfortunately Bassi goes down with an injury or he gets sick or for some reason can't play, you have that confidence, and the team has that confidence that, Caster's in. It's no big deal. We were winning games with him too. No matter who we throw back there is fine. I just kind of wish that they didn't have that confidence, and maybe Bassi got food poisoning playing UMD or Western, and oh crap, Caster's in. But they're both just solid and playing unbelievable right now.
Yeah, like I said, I think the edge slightly goes to Bassey as far as like win-loss percentage goes. But I mean, both guys are super hard to beat, and their offense is playing really good too. They're everything. They have everything going for them that they want. It's just a matter of how consistent can they be, how long can they be consistent for, and can they continue to take advantage of the goaltending situation that they have. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe this week is a bad week to have off, and they would like to kind of keep rolling. But the schedule is what the schedule is, and they get to sit on the sidelines this week and watch some other teams play.
They get to eat turkey and get fat and sassy.
Yeah, they get to actually enjoy their Thanksgiving, unlike every or most other teams in the NCHC this week. Uh, Maybe a slightly surprising series was UMD hosting Miami. They haven't played. Miami hadn't played in North Dakota. I think they said in like 3 years, just because of the way the NCHC schedules. We both predicted North Dakota sweep. That was not the case.
No.
It was a tale of two different games, and it was another.
Yeah.
I mean, Friday night. Now, granted, Miami was without probably their top player in Red Savage, and I believe another player. They couldn't do anything Friday night. Like, it was just anytime they had something going, the puck was off their stick or they were in the box. And they gave North Dakota, who had I think a top 4 power play in the country, like just way too many opportunities with the man advantage. And I think it might not have hurt them every time, but I know that they got 2 on their 5-minute game or 5-minute major plus a game misconduct. North Dakota was able to score 2 during that time, and I think this is the second time at least this season that I know of where Miami has given up multiple goals on a 5-minute major. They did it they allowed 2 against Western on one 5-minute major. Then I think the next night they had another one and allowed another goal. And now, Denver racks up 2. So it's 5 power play goals during 15 minutes of 5-minute major penalties. So they've got to figure out that discipline. If it's at least substituting majors for minors to take a few less minutes, or just honestly playing a cleaner game and playing a little more cautious so that you're not playing a man down.
Oh, and that was kind of the theme of the week for 3 of the teams playing is stay out of the box. North Dakota, they were at, I think I want to say like 37% or something like that.
I mean, they're
It
probably
was
back up now, but I think during the games they were at like 31 or 32%.
with just a ridiculous clip for a power play. And you're going to take a major against that team who, you are right, they were number 4 in the country for power play percentage. What are you doing? You just know that they are going to murder your team on that power play. They're too skilled, and Miami they don't quite have enough players. They have players, just not enough of them.
You literally cannot take a penalty against any team in this league because guess what? 4 players are ranked in the top 3 for most power play goals this season because there are a bunch of guys at 3 with 5. Jamie Rome of Western Michigan has 5 power play goals so far this year. Reese Garber of North Dakota has 5 power play goals this year. Carter Mazur's sitting in second by himself with 6 power play goals, and Hunter McCown, who we mentioned earlier from Colorado College, is sitting in first with 7. I mean, and then you go down.
Are you sure it's not 70 for how much he scores on the power play?
Right, and then you go down, and North Dakota actually has another guy with 4 in Jason Blake. Jackson Blake. And Western is Zach Galambos with 4 as well. So, I mean, like, there's guys all over this conference who are tops in the country at putting the puck in the back of the net when you're missing a guy defensively.
It's
And unfortunately, I think Miami's like the most penalized team in the country, so they've really got to figure that out. And
yeah,
North Dakota is currently 4th at 31%.
I think when we were talking last week, Miami averaged like 15 minutes a game or something. Like something ridiculous like
Yeah, I think
that.
we were pointing that out when we were talking about this game. Like staying out of the box has to be something that you're actively trying to do. Yeah, they are actually second in the country right now with 16.07 minutes per game.
Didn't we yeah, we named the penalty box, the visiting penalty box attendant. I think you named him Greg.
Greg. No, they spent a lot of time with Greg.
Greg got to know them probably more than he even wanted to.
Yeah,
Gosh, this guy's back again.
I know
Buddy,
you.
I've heard your life story 3 times already. Can you just please stay out of here?
I'll tell you
And
this:
we
just
we
don't.
have half a game left.
Definitely don't want to take multiple penalties in front of the Lost and Lunatics because they will welcome you back. They are aware who has sat in their box at any given time, and they will for sure literally say the words "Welcome back."
Well, maybe they're the players from Minnesota and they just really like the Lost and Lunatics and want to be friendly. Who knows? But yeah, so Miami, they got their ass kicked 7-1 on Friday. But then on Saturday,
Their response was really good.
they were up 3-0
They were at 3
because
nothing.
I messaged you and I was like, "Holy crap! Like what in the world is going on?" And then North Dakota did make a slight comeback.
They made a goalie
Um,
change because they originally started Helston on Friday, DeRitter on Saturday, and they pulled DeRitter after the third goal in the second period because it was 2-0 after the first. They pulled DeRitter after the third. Halston goes back in, and there's a penalty to Miami, and that's really what gets North Dakota going. They get the power play goal, they ride that momentum, and they tie the game at 3 apiece. Like it's Miami had scored 3 straight. North Dakota goes on and scores 3 straight, and it just looks like it's going to be a battle, and it's a battle of who's going to get the next goal. And Miami was the one who lucked out and made it an incredible play, an incredible shot, and they're the ones who get the. I think their fourth one was their fourth one, the one where Miami made. Was it Miami or St. Cloud? Somebody made an incredible heads up play to get back on side. I think this was Miami. Nope, this was the Miami goal because they challenged it and they were still on side. And I think they were talking about how like North Dakota had tried to do it the week before. They called it the McCarr play or the McCarr rule. And the play goes offside. The player is throwing the puck across the ice. The puck is onside. The player gets back onside before anybody touches the puck, and they're able to skate the puck in. And then the player from Miami strips the puck away from I think the North Dakota kid and just
yep.
buries it short side. And I think that ends up being the game winning goal.
I just put it. He went far side, low glove
Yeah,
between the pad and the glove. But yeah, that was a super heads up play. I'm watching the highlight now, and actually the Miami player had his stick lifted and was able to get his stick back down and just bury it with a heck of a shot.
it's honestly an incredible sequence, and really, if anybody has NCHC TV or I don't think it should have made one of the top plays honestly like that whole sequence. But if you have NCHC TV, go back and like look for that goal and watch that goal because it's an incredible goal and sequence of events like from the fact that they were able to stay onside and then the play to get the puck back and to shoot around the goalie the way he did. Like honestly, it's an incredible goal and it definitely should have been a top play if it wasn't.
It's it shows the battle effort. A lot of teams probably have just been like, whatever, it's in the zone. But just in this conference, top to bottom, there is that battle effort and the belief that they can win. Any team can win any game. And good on Miami getting a huge win up in Grand Forks.
Yeah, they needed some points. I mean, they were
Yeah.
5-1 in NCHC play so far. They only had one conference point, and that was the with Colorado College last weekend. They hadn't beaten North Dakota, I think, in like 6 straight games. They still haven't beaten Western in like 10 straight games, but that's fine because suck it. But there's potential there, and I mean Pearson is an incredible, like he's a really good goalie. There's nothing to be taken away from him. He made some incredible saves. Neaton came in and played pretty well Friday in relief of Pearson. It'll be interesting to see if Helston kind of has earned himself the starting job there in North Dakota. I know they were playing the fifth-year transfer. I believe it was a fifth-year transfer from Michigan State into Ryder there quite a bit. It'd be interesting to see if they go back to him, what they do. They've got a pretty good matchup this weekend. They're playing home and home with Bemidji State, so I mean Bemidji State plays them tough every year too. So it's not like it's an easy quote unquote like get it together kind of series. Like they're gonna have to bring some good hockey and play their kind of style of hockey and hope that they can be consistent enough to win 2 non-conference games.
Yeah, and just going back to Pearson from Miami, I mean, I would love to see him on a more solid team and see what he can do, because every game you watch of Miami's, you're just like, God dang, this goalie is good. He's just not getting any help. And you put him kind of like Bassey's doing in St. Cloud. You put him on a solid team. Holy cow, will this guy get noticed and be able to steal games and win you games that maybe you shouldn't? Because he's a stellar goalie. It's just a matter of his team necessarily can't win him games.
Yeah, for sure. And then to wrap up last weekend, we had the most important series as far as this podcast is concerned because they are the teams that we represent. I'm not going to lie, Western was kind of lucky to be in the position they were Friday night. They came out flat. They did not play great. It took some lucky bounces and some mistakes made by Minnesota Duluth to keep them in the game. I mean, it was 2-0 with like I think a minute and a half into the game, and it was all Minnesota Duluth until Western gets one back, and then on a delayed penalty call, you guys figured out how to put it off of the back of your own goalie's knee to make it a 2-2 game.
That was honestly impressive. It's one of those. It's like I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed.
Honestly, like, go watch the Western Michigan post-game interview with Coach Ferschweiler because
it is hilarious.
He's honestly, you can tell he's legit pissed about the situation, but as a fan, it's a pretty funny interview. I mean, his line about they're putting him in our net, they're putting him in their own net, we're putting him in their net. Like that wasn't hockey. That was just goals being scored, and it's a perfect explanation of the first 10 minutes of that freaking hockey game.
Yeah, they asked him, what do you make of the first 10 minutes? He goes, I don't know what that was. And I can just imagine the thought process on the bench and him looking to his assistant. What the hell's going on out there?
Yeah, I mean, even on the ensuing penalty, in which case, you guys had just scored on yourselves. Faceoffs at center ice. I believe that it plays for a little bit. Somehow Western gets a shorthanded goal on a beautiful back move by Luke Granger. We're up 3-2. You're still on the power play, and you guys go down and score. There's been 6 goals within the first 10 minutes of this freaking hockey game, and it's just it's trash hockey, but one team significantly playing better than the other one somehow, and it's a tie freaking game, and it makes 0 sense.
Nothing about Friday's game made any sense.
The game settles down a little bit. You guys still played a lot better than we did. I believe each team scored in the second period. Either way, it's 4-4 going into the third. Until late in the third. And honestly, Western just kind of shits the bed the last 2 minutes of the game. I think we draw a penalty with 3 minutes left. We can't score. We're not paying attention to the time left in the power play. The puck goes out of the zone right to the UMD player coming out of the box. and he skates down on a breakaway and scores what would end up being the game-winning goal. And honestly, like the only thing we did well is we pressured inside the offensive zone for the last like 40 seconds of the game, but you guys were eating. I don't think a single shot made it to the goaltender. Like it was an all-you-could-eat biscuit buffet, and the Bulldogs were hungry and they were snatching everything up. I think 3 of your guys came up limping at the end of the game because they had just taken pucks, multiple pucks, to the chest, to the ankles, to the shins. Anywhere they could get in front of a puck, they were. And I mean, honestly, as a goaltender, you're like, hell yeah, buddy. It's one less I have to eat. But at the same time, you're like, good God, can we just get one past it?
And that's an encouraging sign that the team is finally starting to understand, especially the newer guys. They're starting to understand the way Sandy wants to play and how to play championship hockey, because they weren't doing that earlier in the year in previous series. They would block a few shots here and there, but now it's starting to sink in where we play for each other, and the more pucks that we eat out here, the less our goalie has to do. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but it's going to win us more games in the end because that's fewer chances at rebounds and garbage goals that go in. But yeah, when also in that presser when asked about the power play, I was waiting for a trash can to come in and let it go full on Letterkenny on that deal.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, as a fan and someone who has seen Letterkenny numerous times, it was entertaining, but you could just feel the frustration coming through the words he was saying. But the boys took it to heart, and they came out Saturday, and it was a completely different team. It was a completely different game. Yes, we were down, but it wasn't. It was a much better game. And I think it was 3-2. I think you guys had scored, was it 2-1 going into the second period? I believe each team scored once in the second period. Western scoring late. I think with like 2 seconds left in the period.
Yeah, it was late.
A very late, much needed goal. I think it was on the power play. To make it 3-2 going into the third. And Western really just took over the third period. It was dominated by Western. And I think, let me see here.
Yeah, and the third period is what I was able to watch most live, and it was frustrating for me to watch because we couldn't do anything. And Western just dominated that third period, and it was like, well, I'm happy we got the win Friday because we both predicted a Western Michigan sweep. So that third period, watching it live, I was like, well, this is what I expected more to happen. And then you finally got the empty net goal after Thiessen, according to you, because I did not see it, decided to face plant into the boards.
Oh my God. That was so funny. I won't lie. That was the funniest thing I saw all weekend. But yeah, so Western's down 3-2. Going into the third period, we score a late goal in the second period to make it 3-2. And the third period is all Western. We get the penalty call against you guys. I don't remember what the penalty was for. But we pull our goalie, and Ryan McAllister, who scores the goal to make it 3-2, carries the puck around the zone, keeping Duluth players at bay, keeping them off the puck so we can get our extra skater out. And he finds Luke Granger coming off the bench, just carrying all sorts of speed, drops him the puck, and he skates right in on the goaltender and just buries a just ridiculous backhand to tie the game. And Western gets the ensuing power play, which they score on that too. I mean, Jamie Rome just sends a rocket from the goaltender's, if you're the goaltender, the left dot, rips it home, picking up, I think it's his 5th power play goal of the year. And it's another one of these situations where you cannot put yourself in a position to be a man down against the teams in the NCHC. They're gonna burn you. Western will hit you, whether it's a major penalty, they might put up more than one on the major penalty. Here's a situation where they literally got 2 goals in less than 2 minutes because they were one able to score on the delayed call, which in college hockey does not negate the penalty,
Nope.
and then they score on the power play, and it becomes a 4-2 game. And Granger gets his second of the night when he hits the empty net that Thiessen had left vacant for an extra attacker, and proceeded to somehow manage to throw himself full bodied into the boards.
I need to find a video of that because I just really want to see it.
Dude,
Goalies
it
doing
was
anything is just so when goalies fail, it is the funniest thing in sports, I think.
he was hustling so hard, and his legs just said, "Oh no, sir, please don't." And I don't know what his legs did, but they caused him to just over and just into it. Just oh, and then he kind of like just gets up gingerly. He eventually gets on the bench, but at that point, I think Western's already got the puck and is on their way back up the ice for the empty net goal. And then they decide to pull the goalie again, and he very gingerly makes his way to the bench and just kind of throws one leg over. And he kind of looked, at one point, he kind of looked like a fat cat. He just had like one leg in the bench, one leg on the ice, and it's just laying on the wall. Like,
Just couldn't
do I
quite get
really
over
have
the
to? Do I really
over the
have to get over this wall? But yeah, dude,
yeah.
him just full body into the walls was like, ooh my god! But that was funny.
And I think if it would have been, at that moment, that's just adding insult to injury.
Quite
Uh,
literally.
yeah. But if UMD would have been up and it was just a delayed penalty, and we're going and he face planted into the boards, like, yeah, the guys are gonna give him a hard time.
Oh.
This one, you're embarrassed, and your teammates are probably like, really? Our
Oh,
goalie can't even skate off the ice properly. Like, it's just one of those games. But overall, I'm thrilled with the split. I am thrilled that we got the split with how the team's been playing. Um, but good series overall. I didn't get to watch a whole ton of it live with driving up north and hunting and everything, but um, yeah, I didn't even think we were going to have a chance. And so to get the Friday game, I am extremely happy with that. Uh, get us a few points in the standings and keep you guys back a little bit.
I'll say this: I think Western definitely has a team that could have swept that series.
Oh
They
yeah.
came out flat on Friday, and you can't come out flat against any team in this conference.
Mm-mm.
Our offense is something to be incredibly impressed by. However, our offense also covers up a lot of holes. We're very good on the puck. We're very good at keeping the puck. However, when the other team has the puck, even for the few moments that they do or the limited number of opportunities that they have it for, we're giving up too many goals. Cameron Rowe is a very serviceable goalie. He makes incredible stops when he has to. He when his back is against the wall, I mean, he makes good plays. He's a smart goaltender. He knows when to stop and hold the puck and when to play it. But we still need better goaltending.
I think you said it best when you said he's a very serviceable. You didn't say he's great. You didn't say he's gonna he's good enough to win you games, but he's not going to. He might steal one or two, but he's not going to steal five or six.
He's not Brandon Bussey, but we need him to be a
No,
little more Trevor Gorsuch. Like, we need him to make the stops that he's supposed to make and be strong in his positions so where pucks aren't getting through him. And I think he still has the potential to be a good goalie. And I'm not saying he's a bad goalie. He's definitely
hmm
able to win games, but we need him to be a little bit more consistent and not so much be it's almost like we need him to realize that our offense can't play as well as our offense plays every game. And it's nice that you can gain confidence as a goaltender when you know that your offense scores 4. We've literally scored 4 in
Hmm.
every game this year but 3, I think is what it is. But if you're scoring 4 and losing because the other team scores 5, like we we just need a few more stops per game, as opposed to it would just be nice if we were closer to like a 2.0 goals against average as opposed to like the
Hmm.
3 that I think we're close to. And that doesn't seem like it should be out of the realm of possibilities for a goaltender who can make the plays that he can make. We just need we need to limit the opportunities in the penalty box. We're a little bit better at it, but we still need to limit those. We need to maybe it's hard to say that we even need to eat more shots defensively because like we've held teams to I think under 25 shots per goal. I think we still might be holding them to under 20 shots per goal as a game average. But again, when you're seeing, I think at one point like Duluth had 16 shots on goal and 4 goals. Like you should not be at a .75 save percentage. Like can we
No.
please? So we do need to improve there. Our offense, like I said, everything's clicking. We have probably one of the most prolific first lines in college hockey. We have a freshman leading the college hockey in points at 26 points. And that's leading all of NCAA. That's not leading just freshmen. We have a top 4 offense scoring 4.13 goals per game. We're literally like a 100th of a percentage point behind Harvard and Michigan. They're both 414. We're 413. But everything is there for us to really take the next step. It's just we need better slightly better goaltending.
Yep.
Yeah, we're at 273 goals against.
And that was one of our main points going into the year was how is the goaltending going to be? And that was for a lot of teams within the conference, but especially with both of our teams with UMD and Western, how is the goaltending going to be? And um I would say both our teams have had shaky goaltending. Decent is kind of he's taken the reins. Stayskull did not play very well. Um Decent, he's again serviceable. I wouldn't I'm not calling him bad, but I wouldn't say he's good. He's a body to stop the pucks and he makes some saves when he needs to. And that it's a similar story for Cam Rowe and your team where Bassie and Castor they're playing out of their minds at St. Cloud.
Yeah.
Umberco at Colorado College, he's a very good goalie. Pearson at Miami, he's very good. Um,
Omaha
uh,
has a pretty good goalie.
yeah, and
I mean,
Magnus Krona,
Magnus
and
is Magnus. Like there's
yeah,
good goalies in this
he's
league, and you unfortunately like that's probably the one position where like you have to be just as good as the guy on the other side of the ice night in and night out. Yes, you can have an offense like Western Michigan has right now that can kind of cover up some of the holes, but the teams in the NCHC are good enough to put pucks through those holes even in the few opportunities that they get. It's a
mhm.
matter of how much you can limit, how much you can control what you can control. Whether that's defensively filling a lane that you're supposed to fill, or if that's a goalie making the play that he's supposed to make and stopping the puck that he has full sight of and should stop probably 99 and a half times or even 100 times out of 100. Like those are pucks that he should have, and we're not seeing those kind of stops on a regular basis the way we should, I think.
And for any of the like anyone watching this for football, that I mean, it's kind of easy to compare quarterbacks. Right now, we have like a Mac Jones who's good every now and then, but not great, like good enough to get by. We would like them to get to Kirk Cousins level, but we would love to have a Pat Mahomes. But if we even had Kirk Cousins level quarterback play as far as our goalies, that good, solid, consistent, kind of like an Alex Smith or whatever, just you can win some games here and there, but you're not going to lose the games and give up soft ones. That's what we're hoping for, and we're not quite getting that yet.
Yeah. So I mean that, and we'll round out last weekend. We'll go through the NCHC Players of the Week presented by KJ Branding. That's what that
I don't know
says.
if anyone wants to sponsor us, we can do our own players of the week.
We're gonna come up with some for next year, so we don't have to steal theirs every week. But Luke Granger is the forward of the week. He had his first career shorthanded goal on Friday. He had 3 points and 2 goals in Saturday's contest, so 3 goals on the weekend. At least 4 points. He might have assisted on us on something Friday as well. I don't know. Defenseman of the week goes to St. Cloud's Brandon Bushy. He had his also first career shorthanded goal on Friday. Was the primary assist on Saturday's game-winning goal, and played some pretty good defense to make sure that Colorado College only scored the 1 goal on the weekend.
Yeah, Bushy, he's been solid for, well, at least a year and a half. I don't know exactly what year he is, but he's definitely been a solid player. And how about a defenseman getting a shorty?
Right?
Good on him.
I mean, St. Cloud, they do a great job, even man down. They put a lot of pressure on you, whether they're a man down, a man up, 5-on-5, 4-on-4. Like, no matter what the circumstances, they are a team that's going to pressure you hard. And they generally are near the top of the country in, like, shorthanded goals. Micah Miller, I think, last year had, like, 5 or something. He's got a couple
Well,
already this season. Like,
he's a unicorn. He's an anomaly. Get him. Can he move on already?
yeah, I mean,
He's too he's too
that,
good.
that team is coached very well to put pressure on the puck no matter where they are.
Yeah, Brett Larson does a great job there, especially after taking over for Motzko.
Rookie of the week goes to North Dakota's Jackson Blake. He had his first career multi-goal game on Friday, then tallied 2 more points on Saturday with a goal and an assist. So,
And
and goaltender of the week, which was a little meh as a category this weekend. Honestly, everybody kind of suffered one loss, unless you're a St. Cloud goalie. They both picked up a win. But Dominic Bassey shut out his old team, his second shutout of the season, and made 38 saves. So definitely did enough to earn the shutout, and by result of the shutout, when everybody played pretty much one game or lost at least one game, he's the standout goalie of the weekend. So congratulations to those guys. Now we're going to look ahead to next week.
well, before we do that, I have two things still to say about the Western UMD series.
Okay, go
One,
for it.
Ryan McAllister is a stud.
Yes.
My God. That kid as a freshman is a phenomenal player.
Dude, he
So
makes some of the headiest plays I have ever seen from a
he,
freshman.
he he's on a different level than most freshmen. He just is. My second thing is I giggled every time Five's a bitch was chanted to Wyatt Kaiser. Every
Also,
time. Whether I was listening or watching, I just giggled the whole time because I knew what they were saying, and I'm like,
I believe there was a couple threes too, but I think Kaiser made a play or did something that drew the attention of the Lost and Lunatics more in his direction, and he got the brunt of that chant this week as there was no number 4.
well, he's kind of made a habit of that this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
he is. He has made
drawing
some
drawing
plays.
attention. You got Aaron Judge swinging for the fences against Wisconsin, and then
Running goalies.
yeah, running goalies and getting major penalties. I don't know who he thinks he is out there, Brad Marchand or what, but he's a defenseman. Let's tone her down there, bud.
All right, let's look ahead to this weekend. And as I closed out things that I didn't want to close out of, so we can make our picky doos.
Let's see. Where do we want
Let's
to
go
start?
Michigan State, Miami. Honestly,
Okay.
this should be a pretty good toss up. I think Michigan's playing pretty well. I think they broke the top 20 rankings or whatever it is. I believe they just swept Ohio State, or they just played Ohio State, which there was some controversy in that series and some extracurricular activities that have drawn news of people saying inappropriate things, and how teams, schools, conferences are handling such things. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up on Twitter, look it up online. I'm sure there's an article somewhere. You've probably seen something about it. It's honestly stupid that we have to continue to have these conversations, both as human beings in 2022 and as sports fans. Like, fucking stop. Treat everybody the way that either you want to be treated or the fact that they're just a human being. Enough is enough. If you can't figure out how to not use words because either you were taught them or you've heard them somewhere, then you're a fucking moron. And it's literally as easy as it's going to get to be said. And you deserve to be punished or have something taken away from you because you suck at being a person and you don't deserve the opportunities that are afforded to you just because you have some kind of talent of something that people find entertaining.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that we have to have these conversations. Even fans and what fans chant and whatever. People can have differing opinions. You and I. Now, granted, we don't have a rivalry, but even if they're like, we have competitive games, but if, and I saw it a few years ago, up in Duluth with some old timer swearing at UMD fans who was a North Dakota fan. You can have differing opinions and give each other a hard time, but use your head. There's no need to say anything dumb, like give each other a hard time. I give you a hard time, you give me a hard time. Nothing hurtful is said. We're still people.
Yeah.
Like people don't think. People are stupid. And I get there's heat of the moment things and you don't think, but that's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse
It's
because
just not.
uh, here's the thing. I've never said a word in the heat of the moment that I didn't use outside of heat of the moment instances.
Right.
Which means that word is a part of your vocabulary. It is a part of your vernacular. It is something that you have said consciously and you have made the decision to say so that it exists in your mind when you're in an emotional state or you're aggravated or any of these things. Like the fact is that word exists in your mind. And you
Yeah.
have a propensity of saying it or thinking it or using it in a way that it doesn't need to be used.
When you're in a fit of rage, you're not thinking clearly, and so you use words that you have said many times before because you're not consciously thinking of what you're saying. So if you're going to use that type of language against somebody, you use it constantly.
Yep.
And that's not okay. Everybody is a human being. It's an embarrassment. It really is.
And the conference comes out looking bad because they're like, oh, so we stand by the fact that you received this penalty because the referee or the linesman heard it and decided it was worth giving him the game misconduct or the ejection, whatever it ended up being. I don't remember exactly what the penalty was. But there's not enough to further discipline the player or suspend him for a game because you can't hear it in the audio or read his lips as he says it. Like, come on.
It's not like the ref is making it up.
No, or the player. Like literally, the ref heard it and kicked him out of the game.
Yeah, if he kicks him out of the game, that should be enough evidence to suspend. Honestly, I think it should be not even a game. It should be at least a series, if not two,
Yeah.
because there's no place for it. And the it's one thing. I was coaching basketball, and one of our players got a technical foul because the ref saw him mouth the F word. That's made up. But people are not like they're not gonna make up that he said a racist term. Like it's completely different than swearing. It's he heard it and he heard it
Yeah.
in this case. He heard it, he kicked him out. How is that not enough evidence? That
So,
that deserves to be a suspension, but we'll I
well,
think our point has been made very clear.
yes, I stand behind the Michigan State player and support him in his decision to one make this a public thing because it 100% deserves to be known and out there, and people can do with that information as they will. The conference should have done something about it. Ohio State should have done something about it. It shouldn't be said. It shouldn't have been said. It shouldn't have to be said. Grow up, be an adult, make the right decisions. If you want to tell someone to go F themselves, like fine. That's completely within
Everybody's been told that's fine. I don't care. We tell each other that all the time.
that was
It's fine.
literally advice I was given in one of my education classes was to go home and look in the mirror and tell yourself F you, because you're going to hear it at some point as a teacher, or you're going to hear it at some point, and you just look back and go, I appreciate your input and I will strongly consider it.
You're like, you know what? You're right. I'm gonna go home and zip.
Yeah.
Like,
So, I mean, there's other ways of handling that situation, and it's just a terrible look on the sport. It's a terrible look on the school. It's a terrible look on the conference. But I think we've said enough. We do stand with the player. I believe his name is Jagger Joshua, is the Michigan State player who the negative phrase was used upon. And, I hope he continues to play and play well. And I will see him at the GLI. And I will not cheer for him, but I will not yell things at him either. So I will cheer for my Broncos and my Broncos alone. But he shouldn't have to deal with that shit playing a game and doing something that gives him an opportunity to better his life. So,
and doing something that brings him joy.
yeah.
I mean, isn't that why everybody plays hockey or watches hockey? Is because it brings us joy. We love the game.
But good luck to him and the Michigan State Spartans as they play Miami. I hope they win that game just because
Miami's because it's Miami
and Ohio sucks. So does Miami. So go ahead, Spartans, beat Miami, please.
I think so. Going back to our predictions after that, I don't think Michigan State's that strong of a team, and unless you're beating Minnesota or Michigan in the Big Ten, it's not that much of a statement. I think Pearson can steal one for Miami. I think it'll be a sweep. I just don't know. Or, I mean, a split. I just don't know which is which.
Michigan State's playing very well. I do think Miami picked up a lot of confidence in beating North Dakota in North Dakota. It'll depend on... And the team gained confidence because they were able to pick up a big win without a couple star players. And honestly, that really kind of builds the confidence of everybody else on the team when that's the outcome. Some people say that momentum matters. Some say it doesn't matter. But I think this is a win that you come off feeling good. And when you feel good, you play the next game just as well as you did the previous game more often than not.
Call that to the Vikings.
I said more often than not. I did not say every time. Calm down, Spartacus. Um, I think the North Dakota is a better team than Michigan State, but I think Miami is capable of raising their level of play to meet that of their opponent. They play everybody pretty tough. They just don't necessarily get the bounces to go their way. I think it'll be a split too. I wonder how much the outside stuff affects Michigan State and their ability to play the game.
I think if anything, or if nothing else, it's gonna raise their motivation to play for their teammate. Because they've played games. He is their teammate. They are brothers playing for the green and white. They want to stand behind him and help him succeed. So I think they're going to come out with fire. I think it's actually going to be a pretty intense series, just because Miami, they're like, shit, we just beat North Dakota. Like, we can beat anybody. And Michigan State has the fire and motivation to elevate their teammate. Uh, yeah, I think like I said, I think it's a split, and I think Pearson probably steals one. I think it's going to be a close series. There's not going to be a blowout either way.
I know that it will be hard to follow these games with everything we've got going on, but we'll do our best to keep track of scores and follow along. Are they playing Saturday, Sunday? What are they doing?
Who?
North Dakota and Bemidji, or is it just because the Saturday game is not on
Uh,
NCHC TV because it is at Bemidji? It must be
they're
Friday, Saturday at
yeah, they're
Bemidji.
Friday, Saturday.
Um, North Dakota, Bemidji State, home and home. Generally, I
This
mean,
is
I feel like this usually splits. I think the home team usually wins the games, or I think maybe North Dakota swept the last time they played. I don't know what Bemidji's looking like right now.
I don't know either. But it's kind of the battle of the abandoned stepchildren of Minnesota because Bemidji's kind of up in the middle of nowhere. Beautiful place, like beautiful country. Um, but they're kind of in the middle of nowhere, and North Dakota, well, Grand Forks, I think they probably wish they were Minnesota, but
They're
they're not.
they are currently 3-1-2 in their conference, and they are 5-3-2 overall. So I mean, right about 500. Um, they're not scoring a whole lot. They're not allowing people to score a whole bunch on them either.
Oh, they split with St. Cloud. Um,
North Dakota's coming off that loss
yeah.
to Miami. They're going to want to get back on track from that. Um, it's I think it'll be a split. I think the home teams are going to win that one.
I think so. And North Dakota, yeah, they're going to come out mad from losing to Miami, but it's an away game. I think they're going to lose their second in a row and then really take it to them in Grand Forks. Um, because we thought North Dakota was going to be mad being swept by Denver. Yeah, they proved it in the first game, but then they just decided not to show up for the first three goals of the game on Saturday. So this one, I'm with you with home teams winning each game.
And then Omaha, Denver at Denver. Omaha plays pretty good. Denver's been not as strong as I think we thought they were going to be. They've already lost at home to St. Cloud. Neither of these teams played this week, so they've had 2 full weeks to prepare for what's coming up. I still think Denver's the stronger team, and it's always hard to play in Denver. But I think Omaha's kind of been. They had that big split with North Dakota before going on their little break here. It's possible that they could split.
I I think it's a Denver sweep at home because you have to look. They lost at home to St. Cloud, but look at what St. Cloud has done and how hot they are. They are a damn good team. And yeah, they did lose. They did split with Western and lose at home to Western, but St. Cloud, they're just a really tough team, and I think St. Cloud's a little better than we thought they were going to be. Um, so I think Denver sweeps. I don't think it's going to be an easy sweep. I think one probably might go to overtime, but I do think Denver gets it done at home.
I'm gonna go
Um,
split. I'm gonna stick with my split.
all right, you do that, and I do agree. Denver is weaker than we thought they were, but they're still a really strong team. Omaha's a little bit stronger than people might have predicted, but I just don't. I think Denver is just a better team overall.
And then
And
Colorado College, Minnesota, Duluth, and St. Cloud all have off weeks. And then we've got the game that you and I are going to see on a Friday evening in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a rematch of the regional semifinal. Well, the NCAA tournament regionals, game one between Western Michigan and Northeastern. This is going to be a little bit more of neutral ice as opposed to not too far down the road from Northeastern. Northeastern still bringing that incredibly tough goalie in Levi. They are currently 7-4-3 overall. Western, I believe, is something similar. They might have one more win. Honestly, matchup wise, it seems like it's gonna be like both teams are pretty close to each other as far as win loss. I know they're both pretty close to each other in the rankings too. I think Western might be slightly above Northeastern at like 16-15 or 16-17, something like that. What is your record, you sillies? Yeah, Western's 9-6. So both teams playing pretty well. Like I said, Levi's that tough goalie. You know, it took us. We got an overtime goal last year and a wraparound goal that not a lot of people thought went in right away to earn our first NCAA win over this team. If the offense gets going and we can limit the amount of pucks that go in the back of the net, not just the opportunities, but the actual pucks that find the net, Western could easily win this game. Or could win this game. I don't want to say easily, but could win this game. The offense is playing ridiculously well. I mean, we're averaging over 4 goals a game like we were going into last year's NCAA tournament, but this team held us to 2 goals for 60-plus minutes. They're very stingy. They haven't allowed more than, for the most part, they've allowed 3 or less goals. They've only allowed 4 in 2 games. Everything else is 3 or less. So the opportunities are there to score on them, and it'll really just come down to whether or not our team is ready to play, how quick of a jump we can get off to, and how much we can maintain that offensive pressure, and whether or not we can get the puck past Levi, who is a tough nut to crack.
I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch. The Northeastern's kind of been at the top or close to the top of Hockey East the last few years. They're a team on the rise, and so is Western Michigan. Don't know a whole lot about Northeastern, but from talking and paying attention, Western is such a deep team. And then I think Ryan McAllister is going to be a big difference in this because he wasn't there last year, and how well he's playing right now. Uh, I think he's going to be kind of a catalyst. Yeah, you guys did lose a lot of offensive firepower.
We have found it too, though.
Yeah, exactly. You found it, and McAllister's more of a last year. It was more of a cohesive unit that you had, where McAllister is more of a he's more of a Bobby Brink type player, like where it doesn't matter what he's going to do, he's going to make the or what teams do, he's going to make the smart play and make his teammates better instead of everybody playing off of each other. From what I've seen,
Okay.
I think it's going to be a close game, but I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
Our top line of skaters, okay? Our number one line, which is Ryan McAllister, Jason Poland, and Max Hassan, are our three leading point getters, once again. That was the same last year with Ethan Frank, Drew Warad, and Cole Gallant. They were the top 3 point getters. At this point in the season, what did I say? Western was 9-6?
Yep.
So 14 games in. Oh, 15 games in, I'm sorry. Ryan McAllister has 26 points, 19 assists, 7 goals. Jason Poland has 20 points, 10 goals, 10 assists. And Max Hassan has 18 points on 6 goals, 12 assists. That is 64 points scored by our top line in 15 games. Our top line averages over 4 points a game. And we have literally only 2 skaters who have... Oh, I take that back. 1 skater who has yet to record a point on the Western Michigan roster. One
Probably
skater
because
and 2 goaltenders are the only people with zeros next in the points column.
well, your goaltenders better step it up because the one skater, he's just crushing hot dogs in the press box.
So, and that one player who hasn't picked up a point has played 7 games and taken 4 shots. So I mean,
He's kind of crushing hot dogs.
yeah, he's the bona fide bench penalty server. If there's a bench
He's the
minor,
grocery stick, and
yeah,
all right, get in there.
he's the designated penalty sitter. But I mean, literally, like, it's everybody on the team has at least 1 point, and really, I mean, number 4 is Luke Granger. He has 15 points. He's our number 2 center. Carter Berger is our defenseman who has the most points at 12. We have another defenseman with 11. You know, and another or number, I think, is Jamie Rome on the second line or is he on the third line? He might be on the third line. He's got 11 points as a third liner. This Western team might honestly be one of the deepest teams that I've seen play. And the fact that we're being led in points by a freshman who literally has like that Bobby Brink mentality of and the ability to find open players who can bury the puck, but can also score goals when he needs to. I mean, he's tied for third on the team with 7 goals. Granted, that tie is 3 players, but actually no, he's tied for second on the team. We have 1 player with 10 goals, 3 with 7 goals, and 2 with 6 goals are like the most.
Jeez.
I mean, like, and that's literally, like I said, 15 games into the season.
And I was trying to remember, was Ryan the one that just had the absurd season
Yes.
in juniors last?
Yes.
That's what I figured.
His like 130 points in 60 games or some shit in the
Was he in the BCHL?
I think he was in the Q, maybe.
Well, he wouldn't have been in the queue because then he couldn't play.
He was in like
NCAA.
the juniors,
Or
was he the AJHL maybe?
maybe it was the AJHL.
The Alberta Junior Hockey League. I don't know. I don't know, but the kid's freaking crushing it, man.
I am super excited to watch him play
Honestly, like
because seeing him on TV is one thing, and that goes with any hockey player that you enjoy watching. Seeing them on TV is one thing. I know Connor McDavid, his rookie season, I went in the first game he played in St. Paul. It so much different watching him in person on the ice. It was unbelievable, and I'm really looking forward to watching Ryan McAllister play. Um, and the fun part is you never know how freshmen are going to react. Our
AJHL.
freshmen, okay, AJHL.
Yeah, he played one season in the BCHL and had 13. Okay, he had 13 points in the BCHL. Then he goes to the AJHL with the Brooks Bandit. Has 17 points his first year there. 17 points in 19 games. Played 7 games in 2020, 2021 and had 2 points. Last season played 60 games, 139 points, 57 goals, 82 assists.
Maybe you got a billet family without a hot billet sister.
Through 4 games of the playoffs, he had 12 points.
My God. Well,
So yeah,
that's the thing is like you never know how certain things are going to transfer over to the next level. It did not phase him whatsoever.
yeah, I'm telling you, whoever looked at this young man and said we're not drafting him made an incredibly poor choice. The fact that this kid is
Hmm.
not drafted has to have a bunch of teams like just drooling over what he's done this year, and I think we'll honestly be lucky to have him for more than just next season.
Yeah, if you get him for a third year, you're living right.
And he's got 4 block shots.
Well, he's not paid to block shots.
I'm just saying. Well,
He's not paid at all, but
maybe.
NIL.
Yeah, an NIL deal. But no, he's coming. He's extremely smart. He understands the game at an extremely high level. Plays smart. Plays well. Maybe sometimes I would like to see him shoot just a little bit more. It's one of those things where like he makes such good passes that you don't want him to stop passing, but at the same time, like if the opportunity's there and it's a clean shot, I would much rather you take a clean shot than force a pass just to give somebody the opportunity.
Mhm.
So
Sometimes he's a little too selfless, and you want him to be a little more selfish.
yeah, I think so. I think if the opportunity's there for you to shoot and it's a
Hmm.
clean shot, take the shot, please. Don't make the pass for the sake of making a pass, because a lot of the times, like when you're overthinking or you're being a little too selfless with the puck, is when the puck ends up 200 feet the other direction in the back of your net because you forced a pass that you didn't need to, as opposed to taking the shot. Even if you don't make the shot, maybe there's a rebound there, maybe you get a stoppage and you get a chance to reset in the offensive zone. But yeah, like, I can't wait to watch him play in an NHL rink where, I mean, granted, he'll still be in a Western uniform, but I think he's going to enjoy the atmosphere that an NHL arena brings, and he'll be playing there before too long. I honestly think that like he's one of the better players that I've seen play, and I generally hold off on making an assessment of players just based on what they do at their junior level because I don't have eyes on them. I want to see him play. I want to see how he is as a teammate, and this kid has far and away exceeded every expectation I've had for him. Like his line looks like they've played together for 4 years. The way that they've come together and
Hmm.
made plays and taken over games and put up 64 points through 15 games is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to just watch this team play in person, but especially him. Um, and it's just going to be a fun Thanksgiving weekend.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna try. I think to probably on my before I leave my house to pick you up on Wednesday. I'm gonna try and see if I can get mobile streaming to work on my phone, and we will try and stream some of our road trip. I'll just have you work the phone from the passenger seat or whatever. Or if you're driving, I'll work the phone.
Yeah.
But, maybe we'll do some ride along fun. We've got an NHL game, a college hockey game, an AHL game, and tomorrow I go to an ECHL game to cover 4 leagues in 3 states in 4 days.
And I do think one of the things we should do while we're in Nashville in between games, maybe walking down to get some lunch / dinner, me filming people reacting to your dumbass face paint on Broadway.
You do what you want to do, brother. That's on your phone. I'm sure, honestly,
I,
it'll
I
be...
want I kind of want to stream that for the world to see.
I got a feeling there will be a lot of looks and then looks away and not much said. There'll be at least one person who refers to me as a juggalo. And there will probably be a handful of people who will ask what we're there for. But...
And I will just say, I don't know him. This dude just keeps following me around.
Yeah, I keep following you from in front of you, because that's how that'll work.
Have you been
while
to
you
Nashville
record
before?
it?
No, I can walk backwards. I was a tour guide in college. I can walk backwards. And I've been to Nashville. I know Broadway. I've probably been in every bar, at least 90% of them.
But yeah, so...
Now, do I remember when and where? That gets a little hazier later in the night, but that's a story for another day.
So if you feel so inclined to follow along for that, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you know where they are or how to use them or want to use them or don't. I don't care, whatever. We're on the Twitters. The Twitter handles have been under our pictures the entire show. The show's Twitter handle has been scrolling along the bottom along with a Gmail email. You can use those if you want and send us questions if you actually want like some opinion on a specific thing. Or not. I don't care, whatever. We're going to do this pretty much every week, whether you're here watching it or not, because generally no one watches it while we're live, so be that as it will. Do you have any insulting things to say to the people who don't watch this live but could and or choose not to?
No, because I'm mostly a decent human being.
I dare you to watch it live. Bet you won't. Prove me wrong or don't.
I triple dog dare you.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think those are all the things.
Well, you know what they say, Wes.
They say the same thing that my shirt's gonna say on Friday, that pucks on net, good things happen, like goal horns and fight songs. And that's gonna wrap up this episode. Until the next one, have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.